All right, episode 175. Keller Mortgage has been sold. And it's time to get lean and time to get mean. We're going to get started right now. All right, episode 175. All right, we're going to be breaking down the Keller Mortgage sale, right? It's been sold. I don't know if you saw that. As well as it's now, well, it really should have been previously, but you should be getting lean in your business right now if you're not already doing so. We've been telling you that for a while. But before we dive into that, we got to thank our sponsors. They're not getting lean because they're already mean.
And we've been telling you for a while to make sure you check out mortgagemikeoftexas.com.
Yeah, just went in on it. Like, you know what? Jesse didn't even know whether he should switch it or not, the camera, because he's like, Brian doesn't normally jump in on the mortgagemikeoftexas.com spot.
Sometimes, Tom Brady doesn't go out for a fucking pass out in the flat, but every once in a while, he run a little Philly special.
Not anymore. He's retired. No, he's done.
Or is he?
What was that one Super Bowl, Eagles-Patriots, where Nick Folk actually ran a Philly special and scored, and then Tom Brady tried to run it 2 drives later, and it was just the most ghastly show of athleticism ever.
You know who's a super athlete is Mortgage Mike. He's just athleting those loans all over the place.
Just hurdling problems.
Athleting those loans all over the place, right? So go to mortgagemikeoftexas.com. He's got some cool products that he's working on right now, as well as that interest rate buy down, right? Rates are creeping back up. We had that temporary little spell there. Everyone's like, lower rates, it's back.
I don't know if you guys tuned in at 1 o'clock today, but they're going to be higher tomorrow.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. But again, marry the house, date the rate, right? That's what Mortgage Mike
Those
preaches.
are the memes you're going to start seeing again.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's back. It's back. It wasn't gone very long, but those rates are getting higher. Come on, guys. Go to mortgagemikeoftexas.com. Then when you're writing that contract, make sure that you're connecting with Theron Smith over at Armadillo Home Warranty. Armadillo.1/TOR, T-O-R-E, and get that hard shell protection on that house.
Then,
Hold on.
go ahead.
Oh,
We're the ones who coined hard shell protection.
We get no credit for
Yeah.
it, it feels like.
We
'Cause
just
that's a
came up with this.
bananas good slogan.
So if he ever uses that, we're making this claim now. We want royalties on everything.
I could not agree
Yes, that hard shell protection on your house. And I think their new commercial has like this armadillo who just encloses over the house and just protects it with its body.
just people launching missiles at it.
Yes, and it's just bouncing off. And
bouncing
then,
right off.
Look, they've got that
Do you
one
think
that
is
one page
a home
contract.
warranty a good market to just start running ads? What if you did? I've always wondered. Like one of the Super Bowl commercials was like, it was like some sort of like female. I'm going through menopause medication, which obviously that's a huge demographic, half of the people on Earth. But that got me thinking about like the most random Super Bowl commercials. Like, what if you just did like a Armadillo home warranty Super Bowl ad? Where just like people don't think about their home warranty enough. They're just like, the fuck was that? Like,
They just have one private investor who's just like, what the $5 million to this home warranty problem? Or you'd win it like the Law Hawk guy did a few years ago.
that dude crushed it,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
That is true.
Here's the thing: you don't see Law Hawk anymore. Though.
No, because he probably was really great at making YouTube videos and
Probably
really
getting his
bad
ass kicked in court.
and law hawking.
Yeah. Who's not getting their ass kicked in the property management side is Dana.
The problem,
Ding, ding, ding.
You're 100% right. Go to homewarddfw.com. Check out Homeward Property Management, the best property management company in all of North Texas and beyond. And thank you for your referrals. I have always thought about that. Not always, often thought about that. Like, do you think the Law Hawk is not a very good lawyer because he can't stop acting like the Law Hawk and the judges just don't
He's
like
just
it?
yelling at the
Yeah,
judge.
it's just like, bro, this is not a commercial. You actually have to have a real argument. Stop cawing at me.
He has
and,
little
like,
people.
put your hammer down.
He has little people bursting out behind.
Exactly.
Like,
It's
the whole bit.
Yeah.
The judge is just so over it in every case. He's just not really a good lawyer.
amazing.
Lawyering is a weird thing to me because it's almost like there's no guarantee for what kind of industry can you charge people thousands of dollars to, and this is going to relate to real estate.
I was going
think
to
we're
say
gonna-
realtoring.
Exactly.
Realtoring all day.
where the person literally looks at you and is like, hey, I think this is a really good idea, and it may not be. And we're just like, That's the best you can do. Yeah, we might get the wrong judge. They might read just this part of an email. It's like, what? Also, hey, nobody should sue you for this, but they can.
Yeah.
Right?
Have you like
the scariest.
it's super like it's not like the movies like you're saying at all. Like have you ever watched like a big murder trial and like really like intently? Like the last one that I watched, I think Jesse was it Jodi Arias who killed her boyfriend, drove like all the way across the country, stabbed him like 28 times.
Who was that?
Jodi Arias?
Yeah, she was one of them. She did.
She was one of them. Jodi Arias. Yeah. So she like that's the last big trial that I ever watched. So that was when was the trial? It was in 2008 was the murder. 2013 was the trial. That was like the last big trial I watched. It was like 10 years ago.
Why do you remember their names?
You only remember the killer's name. I didn't remember the victim's name until he just put it up there, which is kind of messed up.
Yeah.
We never remember the victim. We always remember the killer because they're the famous one.
Yeah.
Right? You remember Foxy Noxie.
No.
And,
Yeah, I was gonna say I try
Amanda
to remember
Knox?
none of them.
You don't watch
Amanda
enough.
Knox, she's the overseas one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, see, he's asking me if I remember the names. He's like, oh, she was the one from
She didn't
Italy.
tell me to call her Foxy Noxie.
That's what
I
the
don't know.
media was. Never mind. Regardless, like she had like the family against her had like one of the most notable prosecutors ever. He's like a famous prosecutor. I can't remember his name. And like I was just watching this court case and like they're just humans. They're kind of arguing. Like it's just who can argue better. It wasn't like dialed in the way it is on TV, where like there's this like pinnacle moment where the argument really clicks and the jury's
here's
like,
the deal.
Like it's them just kind of badgering each other for like 6 weeks, dude.
Go to have to actually. Maybe Nick's done this before. I've had to testify twice, and it is a scary experience, right? Like,
I've always thought about this. Are you afraid, even though you've done nothing wrong? Do you feel like you're afraid you're going to get in trouble when you're
dude, here's the
testifying?
thing.
Oh,
like,
I got a story for you.
I will say I testified in my own divorce case, right? Like you have to get up there and have people answer you questions. And this is the weirdest environment to probably do it in because you naturally want to defend yourself.
Yeah.
Because the way the question is asked, it's just like, did you do this? And you're like, but, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and you're like a witness, but you're also a witness of your own
and
relationship.
it only takes you about 30 seconds to find out with the right judge. That shit doesn't fly at all because they'll be like, just answer the question. You're like,
Yeah.
I thought I was. I'm so sorry. I'm so scared of you.
It's even like, or it's even worse. So I had a contractor that was accused of murdering his fiance.
Yeah.
And I get a call from the detectives. And they're like, hey, we'd like to interview you. I'm like, okay, for what? And they're like, just you want to come in or we'll come to you. That's the way we do it, Lo. Just, at first.
Only the best.
This does relate to realtoring.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, and Keller Mortgage. And so they're like, you can come in or we can come to you. And I'm like, ooh.
Bro, I didn't
this
murder
is not
anybody.
good. Yeah, this isn't good. So I'm like, well, if you're offering to come to me, then come to me because I don't really want to drive all the way across town.
Yeah.
I'm like, so they
It's
bring.
like I got shit to do.
Look, I know there's been a death, but I am still quite busy. Thank you.
I'm like, so they come up to the office, the old Keller Williams DPR office, and they're like, do we have a conference room we can sit in? And there's 2 of them.
Were they dressed like appropriately? Did
They were in
they make a
suits.
scene about
They
it?
were in suits.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was like
They were
a
in
whole
suits,
official
yeah.
thing.
And so I'm like, yeah, the conference room right down the hall. And so we go, and they close the door. I'm like, okay. And all of a sudden, I feel my blood pressure and heart rate.
Yeah,
going
you're
up.
like-
I'm like, I know I didn't do anything.
I definitely wasn't
They
there.
set up a camera.
Oh, yes.
One guy's in front of me asking questions. One guy right next to me staring at my face.
Just smoking a corn cob pipe.
And it's the guy not next to me staring at my face. It's the guy across from me. It'd be like Brian staring at me and Kelderman asking questions right now.
Did they do the light thing where they shine it in your eyes, basically?
Well, I think that's for DWI.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. I mean, like they got like a headlamp they keep putting on your eyes to make sure.
That's how they would have got him if he'd went in.
But they
Exactly.
start asking these questions, and I just, it's just, again, you're over analyzing your answer. I'm like, well, what do
Yeah.
you?
Well, and they'll let you just talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, go ahead, keep talking, bro.
Yeah. And so obviously I didn't do anything wrong. They're trying to get some story on it, but it was the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever been a part of. And I said accused. He's actually now guilty. I didn't want to ruin the first part of that story.
Oh man, did you feel like you knew that when you were testifying?
Do you feel like it was your information that put him away?
Yeah. Did you put
Do you
someone
fear
away for life?
yourself?
I mean,
Did they
I don't
execute
think
him?
So. No.
Oh, okay.
No, they
I
don't
don't.
do that
I
very
think he's
often.
only life. Yeah.
That seems worse.
Yeah. So
They committed to all kinds of wild shit. that is the best part. That's like every movie hook ever is just like Nick sitting there, just being like, isn't it like Chunk when he gets caught in Goonies by the parents and he's
Exactly.
like, I cheated on a test and I stole a chocolate bar.
Yeah. We had a buddy that we were coming back from Big Bend, and when you come back from Big Bend, Border Patrol stops you, right? Because you're right out there on the border, and we get stopped. They said the dog marked us, and I'm like, first I'll prove that the dog.
You're like, I was
marked
going
us. I'm like-
60.
I'm like, we don't have anything in here, and there's no proof. The dog just sat down. I'm like, did you show me? Can you show me the replay?
That's
please?
his move. That means
Yeah.
he wants you to open the
Yeah.
door because he's
You know,
sitting here.
tired dogs do that shit too.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys overworked them today.
Hot as hell out here.
So
It's probably
they
just
pull us out of the camper van, and they're like, do you have anything to tell us? Because if not, we're going to go in there and flip it all. And we're like, they're like, what are you talking about? Like, any drugs? And one of our buddies is like, well, I've got pills in there. I'm
We're
like,
like, would you
bro.
shut?
And it turns out he's talking about aspirin. And he's like, I have pills in there. I'm like, dude, come on. They go in there, take everything out, find nothing.
Yeah.
They don't put it back together, by the way.
That's the thing.
Oh,
They're
dude, that happened to me.
Don't say you have anything just because that's the thing that they need to go and rip your car apart and not put it back together. You're creating more of a
Yes.
problem for
Yeah.
yourself.
I feel like you should just let the dog walk around. This will be the last story, guys, and we'll actually talk about stuff. I was driving up to Iowa on a suspended license to go to my buddy Kenny's wedding because I was the best man. I couldn't cancel at the last minute.
Nice.
And I was doing it on like 4 hours of sleep because I definitely drank way too much the night before and had to drive 12 hours to Iowa. So I'm cranking Red Bulls the whole time. And I get to Joplin, Missouri, which is about the halfway mark, and I am Red Bull tweaking out of my gourd. And I get pulled over. And if you know me, like especially back then, it is a miracle that there was nothing in the car at all.
Yeah.
And the cop pulls me over and I was like, look, man, let's be honest with you, I don't have a driver's license. I'm going to my buddy's wedding. Like, this super sucks. Like, and he's like, all right, well, do you have anything in the car? And I was like, no. I was like, I really don't. He's like, you're acting weird. He goes to the trunk, tears apart my bags, whatever. And then he looks at me, he's like, all right, you're good to go. Didn't write me a ticket or anything. Let me drive the rest of Iowa. And I was like, thanks, man. I just closed my trunk, got the hell out of there, bro.
Yeah. Again, you
1994
feel,
Ford
you
Taurus.
feel like you're doing something wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So,
No, I was driving on.
So we want to break down. Yesterday, the news was released that Keller Mortgage was sold to
Mutual of Omaha.
Yeah, Mutual of Omaha, which we were trying to figure out. Does Warren Buffett have
Somebody
any
fact check
ownership?
us in the comment section. Does Warren Buffett own Mutual of Omaha?
Or did he?
Or did he at
Yeah.
some
Just
point? I don't
assume,
know.
you know.
Like,
He owns everything in Omaha, but
Yeah.
we never talk about him owning Omaha Steaks. Does
So-
he own Omaha Steaks?
Yeah, I don't know.
who cares?
Yeah.
All right,
So
so
yeah. I was gonna lay out with you. I was gonna lay out on that.
I
one,
was
just
gonna
go
lay out
dead
on it
air
too.
for a long time. On that.
We were made to listen to 15 minutes of stories.
Yeah, but what we want to talk about. Look, obviously right now is with the way the real estate market is going. Like 1 minute you're reading headlines and everything's going back to hot and great and awesome, and then 30 minutes later it's interest rates are going to go to 30,000% and no one's going to buy. And I was on a call earlier today we're talking about getting lean, and we're kind of in this weird trifecta where demand is at an all-time low, inventory is still really, really low, and rates are at 20-year highs.
Okay, and I don't disagree. Obviously, some of those are objective facts. The demand thing, and I want to get to getting lean and being actually very tactical today. Also, I do want to put it out there that like we do such a bad job as human beings, like of just like leading and lagging indicators. People they base their judgment on the just recent past and their anticipation of the just very near future, right? And so even though rates are creeping back up again, we're comparing them now to where we were at this point, 6 months ago, which was in about the same place. And so we don't have the buying demographic today that is like, man, 6.75 seems really high. I could have gotten 2.5. It's just they don't think like that. People like real estate gets boring. Whatever it is gets boring over time. The rate conversation gets boring. And so I'm interested to see what is going to happen to demand because I predict, and I've usually not dead on, but is somewhere in the ballpark that we're not going to see demand that dip that much. I think that prices have come down enough and softened enough and stabilized enough that people are going to buy. I think that your first-time home buyers are still going to have to figure some stuff out, but I think there's a whole demographic of people that did not move, that are not first-time home buyers, that didn't move when rates were really low because they didn't want to compete and they already had a great rate. And I think
dude, you're thinking too logically.
That is exactly what it is.
Yep.
And I think there's so many segments of this too that are like that are so different, like the luxury market compared to what would be a first-time home buyer market and those types of things. I agree with Nick, though. I think that makes complete intellectual sense. I will just tell you, like, there are enough people, and I hear the agents having enough conversations with buyers to know that they are still having that interest rate conversation. And it's starting with a 7 scares people, for sure.
They will for a few months.
Think about it this way. Until we really have until we have more media that is consistently putting out there that people should be buying, and not just coming from the real estate talking heads, right? So like Gary Keller, Family Reunion just ended, and Gary Keller had some great talking points, right? So like, I meant to pull it up, and I can pull it up here in a minute. But one of the things that he had mentioned is, and I did it on our team call, is that the perception out there, if you look at the data, is really bad, right? So like the transactional drop since in 2022. Was the second largest drop in transactional units we've ever had.
Yeah, I believe that.
So that sounds really bad, right? Demand is showing they'll be lower, and but what we're seeing and what's projected is that we're going to have the third best transactional closed volume in real estate history. So prices are up. You're going to have less units. Prices are up. So from a commission standard in the industry, you're fighting for lesser units, but there's still the closed volume pie there that you can go after.
I mean, if you're going to talk dollars for donuts, we haven't used that one in a while. I would rather do less transactions for higher volume too. So I mean, we have less to complain about. I think I would say I agree adjacently. I actually think that what really brings demand back in the market is not the media getting on board with more positive news about the industry, because I just don't think the media thrives off positive news in general. It's just them to
even
stop.
If they put it out, it would just get buried.
Yeah, it's just not talking about real estate. You just have to move on to the next topic, right? Like people.
But if there's enough of it, though, what happens is the good thing about real estate agents is that they will keep sharing it out. Agents share stuff out that they think is relevant, like breaking news today that it happened in 2018. Right? Don't you remember all the stuff that was getting shared last year? People sharing shit, and they're like, that was actually the HOA law changes. I'm like, that was actually a year ago change.
Somebody who does not follow boxing texted me a story about Joe Frazier dying. Just Google Joe Frazier. I can't remember what year. I think it was 2018 or something. He actually died or something like that. This was okay. So when to when? Just do that, and then he'll die in 2011. So even I was way off. I just knew he'd been dead for a long time. Somebody texted me this like last year.
Breaking news.
I was like, bro,
bro, did you hear about this?
But and in that data that Gary was sharing at Family Reunion, it's like the National Association of Realtors, the members of NAR, we're at one of the all-time highs association-wise, right? So
as far as agent count,
which led to the average agent last year sold 6.3 units, 6.3 sides. That is down. That's the lowest it's ever been.
From like 8, right?
The average is 10.
That's what I say. The last number I saw was close to 10.
It's 10. It's always been 10, right? It's usually always been hovering around 10. So this is the lowest it's been, and it's because we have more licensed realtors than we've ever had in the association. So we've got to reduce that count so that ultimately, as they're on their way out, they're taking this year, they're going to eat up some of that lesser transactional units that we have.
Sure.
And then 24, now you get back to somewhat of an equilibrium, and the transactions per agent starts to go back up.
Yeah.
And so, we get back to some type of normal. But it takes some time to clear out that backlog.
Well, and if there's ever been a time of year to start focusing on like new things and like we talk about getting lean in the title or whatever, but just in general focusing on what you're good at, because I really I'm sure Gary Keller made some money. He retained some ownership. Like I'm not saying like Gary Keller sold that off because he was like looking at as a bad investment. I'm sure it makes sense for him to sell. And I also think there's an element in there that whether it's true or not, you can read into it to focus on what you're good at, right? Like I'll be honest with you, I work for Keller Williams. I didn't really use the Keller mortgage product that much. I don't know what these articles say, but it wasn't something that was being fully adopted, even by the people it was being touted to at the highest level. So if it's not going where you want it to go as a business idea, as an expense or whatever, unload it for whatever you can get and move on. This is the same thing. And you have to look at your business. Sometimes unloading stuff at a loss is better than losing more.
Or
right?
just to stop doing stuff that's not working because you're not going to fully focus on it.
Stop paying for that shit you don't need to pay for, like financially, but also like do whatever you're good at. And if you don't know what you're good at, this is an awesome time of year to find out, because business is going to start ticking back up over the next couple of months.
We have not been punished appropriately over the last few years for doing stuff that was not productive because the market was so good that business was just falling off of trees. We're facing a very real scenario now where you have to, all the stuff we say, dollar productive activities, your one thing, like those are buzzwords, and I get it. And look, you're doing a lot of deals. You just kind of do what you do and you explore all these new territories, and you don't really have a gauge over what's working or what's not, and be accountable to the things that need to be your foundation. And as old as it sounds and as lame as it sounds, it's time to just get back to doing what works and figuring that out. And a lot of us are just playing with our food in our business right now. We're trying to innovate our way out of having to work hard. That's just going to get you punished now.
What was the moment for you guys that you realized that you were a sustainable real estate agent and you were not going to have to run for the hills? And you finally found that thing that you could do in real estate that was sustainable.
I'm still searching for that.
Because I want agents to hear like what their expectation around that should be. Like I'm not talking about the imposter syndrome or the feel of failure that you have as you do stuff, right?
Look, I never feel. Brian and I have that same feeling. Every day is.
When was the day you knew you were a good real estate
I would
agent?
say this though. I think
you weren't going anywhere.
I don't know what the day is, but to be a little more like maybe practical, at some point I got a sense of, if all else failed, I could just pick up the phone and start calling people that already know, like, and trust me and make a living.
That's
and
what
I'm
I wanted
willing
you
to
to say.
do that,
Well,
right?
look,
But that wasn't always the case when I was younger, too.
But it's again, it's not. Mine's not calling people that know, like, trust, and love me. Though that's
calling people you've never talked to before.
Yes, mine is
Sure.
a confidence level that I could just go cold call and spend 8 hours on the phone and find an appointment. At least one appointment a day that I can then set 3 to 5 a week that I'm going to go convert 80% of those.
Yep.
And out of that, I'm going to be able to start selling 2 to 4 houses a month, and then ramp it up, and then ultimately get to 5 to 10 a month, and then 12 to 15, and then I start hiring. So I could scale back all the way to a one-man show, do it that way, and I'm just confident in my ability of action taking.
Yeah.
I know that if shit hit the fan today, all I have to do is get on the phone and do what I did before, which is make phone calls, search for a motivated seller, because I'm not searching for buyers at that time. And if I search for enough motivated sellers, what it's going to end up happening is I'm going to find enough sellers that are going to be priced appropriately that I can go sell them either off market because maybe they need an investor, maybe I can buy it, or I list it and it sells within 30 to 45 days.
You guys answered my poorly worded question so perfectly. And here's what you guys have a fallback position. You have an ultimate foxhole, an ultimate turret that you can go back to and defend your position endlessly.
Sure.
Because it's something that you know that you need to do. And I want agents to recognize what that looks like. Because look, let's be honest with you. Some people may not have sold enough homes to know that fallback position still looks like bartending, like it was for me.
Yeah.
My fallback position was like across the street at another building, right? Like for the longest time. And I think that's like, know that that's what we're talking about when we talk about that one thing you can do, because we do such a shitty job in real estate of explaining emotionally what that moment feels like, where you know where your retreat point is.
Yeah.
If you don't have that space inside real estate, this is what you need to be finding, what you need to be working on right now. You do need to find the thing that you can confidently, comfortably do that you know is going to bring you some kind of business. And if you don't have that, that is the only thing you should be focused on in your business right now. Mine is, for years, it was the agent referral thing. I have absolutely abandoned that at a pretty high level. For me, it would be my database. The people who know, like, and trust me, and this is where I've lost the most money, is in people who I go and look up, and they loved me before, and I just didn't love on them back enough. Or they viewed the relationship the same way I viewed it, as just utilitarian, and I was just a means to an end. We weren't really friends.
Yeah.
And even though we're friends on Facebook, but you don't see me all the time, like, I just lost contact with those people. People who like me, man. Like, I had this happen yesterday. I wish somebody a happy birthday on LinkedIn. I'm just starting to kind of do some different stuff on LinkedIn. And I realized the last conversation I had with her was 2015. There are some people who bought and sold a couple houses with me. And then in 2022, they sold the most recent house. They buy like every 2 years.
Yeah.
They had just sold the house. And I didn't have the stones to call him to just say, hey, man, like my life was a shit show for a couple of years, and I certainly dropped the ball on my ability to follow up with people. I just took the chicken S way out and sent him up on a new property alert for his new address, right?
So
and
he knows that you know.
No, he knew because he unsubscribed in about 30 seconds. Ooh. Like there was no effort to put into rekindling that relationship, and I lost that person, right? And I also know that if I went back to just being Matt and being engaging with people and calling people and just, I would never have to cold lead generate again for the rest of my life.
No,
right?
absolutely not. Really, I mean, that's that's a good way to put it. Once you've already done a certain amount of deals, you already have that book of business that you should always be able to go back to. Well, if you're just willing to do it.
Yep.
You know.
Well, you should be cold lead genning, or at least adding.
No,
or
I'm talking about like the
ways,
fallback thing.
Yeah.
Like he's talking about,
If it's just because like here's the thing is we talk about this every once in a while. We can't ignore the human element to this. Of sometimes people are just scared. They are convinced that it was easier for somebody else. They absolutely believe that like, I don't know what my lead source is. They might really be on a bad team or at a bad brokerage where they're getting no support and they don't realize what else is out there because you don't want to brokerage hop. You haven't been at this long enough. You don't know the questions to answer because you don't even know what you don't know. And you're sitting there being like, okay, cool, that's great, guys. I have no idea what my one thing is, but everybody tells me to go read this book and everybody tells me to just do all these lead generation things. And I suck at all of them because I closed 6 deals last year, whatever, right? And so like this is useless information. But if you're the type of person like me who can feel the event, like viscerally, like you just understand, like, okay, I'm in a place that's safer. I'm in a place that has less anxiety. I'm in a place where I'm more confident. Like I can feel those things. And if that is your type of person, I know like when I'm scared and I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, I didn't call that person back, or I lost that money, or that was a huge commission check that I didn't get because I didn't follow up really well, and I'm just convinced that it is over for me, and I finally reached the point where I suck at real estate, Matt can then join in because that's just like a fear person talking in my head. Matt can then jump in and be like, no, dude. You're really, really good at this. Yes. Have you been lazy? Yes. Have you slacked off? Have you not nurtured these relationships? But you know what you need to do. And you have that thing, or you don't. And if you don't know what that feeling feels like, you do have to go find it. Like you do have to find it.
I think that we're experiencing that really as an organization right now. And I don't know if Nick is as well. Like this has been a season of change for us, right? And it comes with a lot of pain and fear and growing pains, you want to call them or whatever. But like we've started to simplify a lot of things in our business. We were doing the same thing for the last few years. Everything got way too complex, way too complicated. We played with our food way too much. We tried to do way too many things. You can break things to a point that you're no longer failing forward. You're just running around the house smashing dishes, right? Like that's kind of what we were doing for a while. And we've gotten back to we've transitioned to a much simpler way of life and way of doing things. And with that has come some fear, right? Some people that didn't want to buy in. And we are seeing the results of having faith that even in the difficult times where it feels like things are going sideways, if they feel like they're going sideways because you're getting more centered, that's you becoming centered and people getting sideways, or the rest of the business or whatever getting sideways, right? Like for the last couple of years, we've all gotten so sideways because we've been doing a million different things. We've been forgiven for all of them because the market was so good and everybody wanted to buy and sell, right? And now, if you're in your business right now, if you're not simplifying, if it feels uncomfortable to simplify, that's exactly why you need to do it. And you need to do it with the faith that you are talented, you are hardworking, you are driven, and you do need to get back to basics. And we have to have that same faith in one another as leaders and as business people. It's like, look, people aren't going to be on board with our simplified way of doing things, not all of them, and fuck it, we're going to make it back up in spades because this is the shit we should have been doing all along.
My mom said something to me the other day, and she's been in a leadership position for about 25 years in some pretty difficult and challenging type of leadership positions, right? And she said that one of the first things she learned, and I think this is even relevant to individual real estate agents because you are your own boss, there is no advocate for you in leadership, right? Meaning like you are on an island by yourself for the most part. There are people looking to you for answers, and there are very few people you can go to get answers. The more you lead, the fucking more blurry and gray it becomes on what actually fixes a problem, right? Yeah. And when you're leading yourself in your own business, this is a challenge and a good thing, right? Is that you should be confused. You should be looking for answers. You should be asking good questions. You should be finding mentors. And if you feel lost, understand that is part of self-leadership. There's no set way of doing things. And if you just walk around, and I'm not in a negative way, but just realizing the reality of the facts is if you are a business owner, whether you are on a team or by yourself, you don't have many advocates that are going to point you in the exact right direction. And the sooner that you understand that, the sooner you can start making your own decisions and what works best for you and trial and error, and stop being frozen into paralysis by there's somebody out there who's going to tell me the right answer. I just have to find them, because I'm just going to promise you there probably isn't. There's somebody who'll give you a version of their right answer, and it might click for you. But I bet you if you're honest with yourself, you asked 20 other people the same question and got shit that you were like, nah, I ain't doing that.
That's so damn true. And it's like a lot of times you have to be willing to hear the right answer too. We get frozen because we hate when the right answer appears in front of us and some shit we just don't want to hear. Yeah. And I think that a lot of people...
Because it's not the one we're looking for.
Yeah, I just think a lot of people are going through that in their business right now. They're like, what's the other way that I can continue to succeed at the level I have been for the last 2.5 years without doing the hard stuff that I needed to do before the market got so good, right? And like, we hate to feel like we're walking backward. And even though you can move your business forward, the mindset you have to have is to go back to the start and go, all right, like it's just time to get back to doing the hard stuff again. And man, do we hate feeling like we're being told that.
And I think this is great for agents, like especially like Nick's talking about. If we know the average agent's doing 6.3, right? That's going to be the bulk of people are going to be doing under 10 deals a month, right? Like there is a lot of stuff right there that I believe any agent who has the ability to pass the test and has closed a couple of deals. Look, if you closed 4 deals last year, understand you can close 14. Okay? Yeah. There is no difference in what you did for those 4 deals over the 14. What is a huge disconnect is the level of effort and direction that you had. And I'm not saying you didn't put in effort. Was it focused effort? Was it efficient effort? Were you calling the right people? We're switching our CRM right now, massive overhaul, right? And having to have conversations with our agents and conversations with myself and how we're evaluating each lead of, am I just calling, because we're asking our agents to get so lean in their database that they're focusing on who's going to close in the next 90 to 120 days. And let's be honest, if we're all being honest, I know some really awesome agents who might only have 60 people in that database. And if you have 60 people that you really think are going to close in the next 90 days and only half of them do, understand you still just did 10 deals a month, and can all admit
you're doing amazing.
You're an absolute tank, right?
Yes.
So if we can admit that, we also have to admit that most people would be happy with 2 deals a month, which means you might maybe need to have 25 people that you're following up with consistently, and then adding really good, solid, deep nurtures into those, right? Mm-hmm. So one of the things right now is when you have that lead who hasn't responded to 20 text messages, I'm not saying do nothing with them, but these are not one of the people who are closing through the next 90 days without some other indicator, right?
You need to get out there and go find somebody else. But isn't that this is great tactical stuff, right? If I'm spending my lead generation time right now trying to continue to nurture somebody who has ghosted my last 20 outreaches, but I'm not talking to everybody. Like, I'm not looking at my own database and being like, who have I not talked to in 90 days? Then, like, what the hell am I doing, right? I'm literally spending time on somebody who has told me they're not serious. And the people that actually could do business with me or refer business, I'm not picking up the phone and calling. This is what we talk about, getting lean and getting back to basics. Or, just like Nick said, if you're a prospector and you're still focused on the person who's ghosted you for the last 20 times, why are you not just spending 8 hours a day calling expireds? They already raised their hands, right? Like, whatever your version is, we were given so much grace and so much latitude for having like really poor lead generation habits. Like, that's coming back to bite us now if we're not a lot more efficient.
Well, in this Inman article, like that at what Gary said,
the same Inman that ranked us one of the top 25 real estate podcasts.
Yeah, number 23, I think.
Yes,
look at us.
So, I think they start from the bottom, as like 25 was number 1.
Exactly. They don't want to give away the best ones. So
so they started at 1 and then went down to us at 23. So like we say we're in the top 3 of that.
That's how. Yeah, we just choose to flip the article upside down.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because we read it bottom up. So, but this goes along the lines of what we've been like we preach, and I hate to say this because then it sometimes falls on deaf ears. And over the last 2 years, a lot of us, I'm definitely one of them, that I thought the music was going to stop a lot sooner than it did. It kept going, and eventually what happens is like wah wah wah, like they just tone it out. But right now, like even Gary set it up at y'all's family reunion, is like they're still seeing agents that aren't doing anything different than they were during the good times, and they're expecting to get the same or better results.
A lot of them.
And you just got to be like, look, dude, here's the thing. This is those darkness of your mind, silence of your soul, when nobody else is looking situations. You know if you're not. I know for a fact, and I've said this on the show before, I'm operating at what I feel like to be 50 to 60% of my capacity on any given day. Now, I also don't think anybody should be operating at 100% capacity every day because that's impossible.
Supernova
But there is definitely room for improvement on everything that I can do, and I feel like I get a lot of stuff accomplished, right? Like, you know if you're doing that or not. Just own that part of it and change it, because I said this to my kid yesterday. I've got an 8-year-old who essentially was an adopted child of 2 older parents who couldn't have their own, who make a little bit of money, and he is spoiled as shit. And the other day, we all went to Chili's, and he does this bit where he's like, I'm not going to order anything. I'm not going to order anything, just trying to delay the process and be a jerk. So everybody else ordered, and then the waiter walked off, and Luke starts crying. He's like, I want to order something. And I was like, guess what? That waiter doesn't give a shit about your games. Like, he doesn't care that at home.
know you, bro.
He doesn't care that at home everybody caters to this bullshit and we figure it out. He doesn't care, right? He went to work, and what happened? He came back 10 minutes later. Luke got his food after everybody else did, and it was a great life lesson. And you can be cute and think the world belongs to you, but guess who doesn't give a shit? That guy and that guy and that guy. And if you can own that and just be honest with yourself that you are no different than my 8-year-old child by expecting people to cater to you, I hope it makes you pick yourself up and go do whatever you need to do.
How's Chili's doing?
Bro, I'm not even gonna lie. Chili's is my little secret pleasure. They got those little burger bites and that chili con queso, bro. Some
They're
jalapeno.
always killing it.
I would get it, dude. Southwest egg rolls. Get out of my face with
that
that.
chili con queso that comes in the skillet
Lava
is
cake.
actually
Yeah, bro. El Presidente margarita.
They oversalt their food.
They do oversalt their food.
I know. Now that I'm on the blood pressure, I don't get to do these things anymore.
You're right, though. I mean, this is to bring it to how you can describe it to an adult is just like, we're not dummies. All of us know the things that we're not doing. Wow, what is the thing? You just call it the thing. The thing that you go to the seminar and you hear the guy say, and then you go tell all your friends, my biggest takeaway was this, and then you don't fucking do anything about
What
it.
about
right?
the picture of the screen that you took on your phone that you never
Yeah,
look
it's
at
all the
again?
slides you never look at and do anything about, right?
I think this is a Matt original, but it's probably not. Write down on a piece of paper and legitimately answer this question. Burn it, throw it away. I don't care. Show it to a friend. Show it to an accountability partner. Write at the top of the paper, what am I currently not doing in my business or life, whatever, I don't care, that I know I should be doing and would move my business forward, right? Like, if you can actually answer that question honestly, I bet you will find out that that's probably, if you flipped it over, that's probably the thing that's going to move your business forward the most.
Absolutely.
Just ask yourself, like, what am I doing? Like, not what am I doing that I want to do? Don't change the question. What am I doing that I know? What am I not doing that I know would move my business forward if I did it? Right? And if you don't know what that is, like, reach out to people, find a mentor, like, get some direction. But almost all of us know, like, I know for a fact by not reaching out to my database, I am costing myself tens of thousands of dollars every year, not just in them selling their house, in potential referrals and all kinds of things. How long am I going to be okay with that? How long is it going to be until that becomes a priority?
That's a really good one because you're also costing yourself time, not just you, but like that this is an epidemic. You want to talk about what the real pandemic is? It's real estate is just not calling their spheres. That shit is rampant. Like, it's the truth, right? Man, that's a 2023 COVID joke. We're running out of source material. I'm still banging them out.
Bringing it back.
No, I mean that's the thing is, especially you just want to start tackling like your sphere. Like, understand, you're not even costing yourself today's business. You're costing yourself that future life where you don't have to lead generate so hard anymore, where you build such a rapport with your database that this gets way easier. You know the agent that you're just like, I don't know how they do 50 deals a year and they seems like they barely work. Like, they probably used to talk to their database a lot and got in the habit of it.
Look, once you get the momentum, it's like riding a bike.
Exactly.
Right? Once you get enough speed, it doesn't take the same amount of pedal efforts to continue to keep
This
up
is like
that
a
speed.
terrible analogy, but real estate agents are like a kid trying to learn to ride a bike, and then as soon as he gets his foot on the crank, he just slams into the ground and then gets up and starts to ride a skateboard instead. And then he's like, I really wish I would have learned how to bike. So he just gets back on the bike and crashes again, and then goes and rides a Razor scooter. Yep. And he doesn't do well at it.
They keep changing. They keep changing the direction, and it's that start-stop where they just need to gain the momentum. And here, let me ask you this, because this really started 2 years ago, that the video YouTube moment, right, where we saw these agents come in, they're like, I don't want to make phone calls. I don't want to do this. I don't want to lead generate. I just want to make. It's the influencers.
I just want to create
of real
content,
estate.
bro.
I just want to be a content creator, and people come to me.
This is what's interesting about that.
Still gonna take consistency, guys.
Yeah, here's the
Creativity.
thing.
Being uncomfortable.
There's only so many people that you just look at, not even real estate, the people that actually try to monetize a YouTube channel at all, right? There's only so many that do it, and it's the same reason, consistency. Same reason there are only like so many podcasts that out of the 30 million podcasts out there, you've only heard of like 5. This one, Joe Rogan, Freakonomics, and 2 others, right? That's it. Like, because it's just consistency. And then what also happens is there are enough people that will be consistent that the space will get saturated if it doesn't deal with some sort of direct contact with people, right? Like, I get it. Creating content is a great supplement to your lead generation strategy. And a lot of people now, from 2016 to 2023, have now learned how to do it at a high enough level that the space starts to become crowded again, right? And so if you're only doing content creation, you can get business off that. Understand, you're in a very competitive space that you have very little control over. And yes, it is still hard work. And that's, I think, what most people are talking about when they're saying, I just want to kind of create content and bring value, is like, I don't actually want to work hard.
Yeah, they just
They
want.
don't realize it's still hard work.
Yeah, then they don't. They have to come up with good content. They got to then look good on camera, sound good. Then they have to go film it and edit it, and then they never do it. And then they sit there and
They never do it, and they start filming. They feel like they suck on camera. They don't do the filming. This is so funny. This is like a great example. It's like, I don't call my sphere why, because it feels weird and I feel salesy. I'm self-conscious about it. So I'm going to create content instead. And I'm going to shoot my video 400 times and never post it because I don't like the way that I sound. Yeah. It's the same dumb thing that we do. We're just like,
It's the fear of exposure. It's the fear of failure. It's the fear of somebody saying something negative
rejection.
about you. It's
Like,
rejection.
yeah.
It is that human thing. And like, look, nobody on this show is shitting on anybody for that, because every single person has that, whether it's around call reluctance or some
we
other
all
area
have
of
that.
our
I
life.
don't, look, I don't. I would tell you today, I do not like to call my sphere. I
Me
will cold
neither.
call. I would much rather be rejected by someone that I don't know than a friend or who I consider family, and they're like, nope, I'm not going to use you.
Yep.
Right? So I would much rather, because then that opens it up to different style questions. Like, I thought you cared about me. You don't want to use me? You don't want to mix business and pleasure? Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Nick's like, don't you see I have kids?
Yeah.
Just want to help a family?
they're starving.
From London.
London.
Facebook user from London.
Dude, we got to see what that is.
I like how easy it
love
is
it.
to just, how low our standards are for being
Sorry,
so
Facebook
distracted
user.
from the show we're doing. This guy might not actually even be from London.
I
But that's
believe
how
you
easy
are
it
from
is
London.
to distract all three of us from
London,
doing up.
Texas.
This is why we're not professionals.
And I like how,
No.
how Beth had to switch. So Beth switched back so her name shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that was Beth showing up
Appreciate
as
that,
Facebook
Brett.
user.
I don't know how any of this
It's
works.
one of
Yeah.
them, right?
Yeah.
No, I mean,
Matty A.
Matty A.
Oh, bro, he's traveling the world, dude. Matty Aguirre's in London right now.
Yeah.
They just flew in from like Thailand or something. Dude, your TikTok is freaking awesome, bro. Traveling Texans.
That's cool.
If you guys want to go follow him, him and his wife and his 2 kids. So Matt sells down in New Braunfels, right? And I don't know the whole story, bro. Sorry. They decided to take a year and travel the world. They're 2 young kids.
Yeah.
Like I don't think they're in kindergarten yet, right? And travel the world, and I saw a video of them. Bro, his kids are so adventurous. They were eating bugs in like Thailand like just last week. Like, he's got them doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
Really?
Yeah, and here's the thing is, you want to talk about the social media thing as a quick tangent of like you go follow this dude. The sheer volume of content that he posts around this in a subject that's interesting, right?
Yeah.
A traveling family, we just leave everything behind. We're going to go travel. Like, everybody, I want to get in a van and go drive. Like, this is all the shit people talk about right now, right? He still has to be able to put the content together, make it interesting, take the time to be aware to film it, and also still enjoy being in another country with his family. Right?
Yeah.
Like, all of this stuff and still be present and take the time to do all this stuff that's engaging. It's just another hard thing that if you aren't passionate about it or don't understand why you want to do it in the long run and how it's going to move your life forward, you just won't.
Yeah, 100%. He's actually a great example of that. And the content creation is difficult.
When you got Sekou on here, you got
What's
Sekou from New York, and have we had him on the show?
No.
We need to have Sekou on.
Sekou.
Doing the work where he's the most consistent guy. Every Wednesday he runs this group where they're making, I think the goal was like 10,000 calls.
Where's he from? Where are you from in NYC? No, you don't have to answer right
Yeah,
now.
I
You
was
can
like-
continue. I was just
Or are you waiting for him to
Yeah, you can
respond?
put it in the comments.
Just type
Is
it
he
real quick.
actually on here? I don't know.
And so, but then he posts the results of this group of them trying to make their 10,000 contacts, and it's amazing. Again, because what people don't want to hear, like if you go into a lead generation class, or if we run a lead generation webinar, right, and if we tell people that they need, if we're leading the ads or the emails that they need to pick up their phone and make calls, they're not going to register, right? Because immediately they think it's cold calls.
Yep. They're just.
Guess what? If you're going to talk to your friends or family, you're going to have to call them, right? Your friends or family who are going to do business with you want somebody professional. They want their house sold, professionally sold, or they want a very professional buyer's agent of knowing what they're going to do, and that requires talking on the phone.
Chris Wise did 27 million pretty much as a sphere-based business last year, and I will also tell you, she is also the most decisive and clear-cut agent we have when sitting down with clients as far as how she explains her value, how she explains the market, how she's just not going to list it for a certain price, right? And guess what? She has the exact business that every agent tells me they want. I want to start a Facebook group. I want to do social media. I want all my business to come from that. And I want it to be people that are referred to me and I like. Okay, cool. And I'll also tell you, Chris is one of the most hardcore agents I know. And these people that know, like, and trust her also know, like, and trust her because they know she is going to lead them firmly and gently in the correct direction.
Sure.
So, like, that ain't easy either. Those are difficult conversations. Those are fiery conversations. It took years for her to build up the ability to have those conversations. So when you say you want this business that just spits out deals to you, understand there is still a high level of intellect, consistency, and work that comes with
like,
that.
what version of yourself are you that is going to get all this business just spit out of
And
right? Like,
I won't say, like, I don't want to be crappy, but, like, why do you think you're so fucking special? Like, why do you think everybody in your life just needs to remember you and want to work with you? And the people who clicked on your Facebook ad that you ran with some guy who's charging you $15 a lead owe you anything? Like, again, like, I love all of you. This is just the objective facts. The world has got shit to do.
that is.
And we can't sit around and wait for you to decide that you're going to do the thing that's hard. We will all be here. And Victoria, I love you for this. We will all be here for you, standing outside of the dark room, waiting to cheer you on and show you the next thing to do. And you got to walk in the room for yourself by a little bit and get some shit done. Yeah. Stop expecting everybody to hold a light for you at the door so you can see what you're doing. Sometimes you got to go in dark rooms and then come back out. We'll all be here to high five and we'll all go do the next thing together.
I could not have put that better myself, and it just like
Jesse, get us out of here. It's
I
over.
think we've already done
right?
I know, like
Nailed it.
You want to put this to use in your own business. If you want to take Kelderman's analogies, which are so easy to act like they don't apply to you in the real world. This is stuff, by the way, we've all had to deal with over the past year, right? We run really great enterprise level businesses. We sold $152 million in real estate last year. You know how fucking hard that is to accomplish and build that? It's a lot, man. It's a lot. And the question that's been keeping me up at night for the last 6 months, that it's been so difficult to come to terms with the answer, which is so obvious, is who the fuck are you to think that things should always be that way and it should just always be easy now forever? And at some level, everyone needs to answer that question for themselves right now. Who do you think you are that you should no longer have to walk backwards to go forward anymore? Who do you think you are that you've done enough to change the world or even your world that it should never be hard again? Who do you think you are that every day that you should wake up should be easier than the last forever and ever and ever? If you're not saying that out loud to yourself, a lot of us are at least acting that way with what we choose to do, choose not to do, and how we feel around what we deserve right now. So just take a moment, if you don't want to use the dark room analogy, and just ask yourself out loud, who the fuck you think you are if you're not doing the things that you need to be doing right now? If you're not doing the shit that you wrote down, this is the best thing to do in my business, how self-righteous are you that you think that you shouldn't have to do that? Because I've had to struggle with that, and I didn't like the answer for a while either. It's very humbling, and it hurts.
I think that's the new podcast name. Who the fuck do you think you are? We're
Name
changing.
change
We're
upcoming.
changing. By the way, Heather said she's out on Chili's. I asked, what's for dinner tonight? Gave her a list, and Chili's was in there, and she said no. Sorry, I'm not.
I'm just 100% going to Grubhub like $200 to Chili's to your house one day, and it's just going to all be my favorite food: Southwest egg rolls and little burger bites, and a gallon of chili con queso. Make a charcuterie board out of that, Heather.
That would be a great. Yeah, love
That
that.
sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if we got
I'm
one,
done
guys.
talking
Today.
on this.
Yeah, dude. I
man,
think this is
that's-
good, man. Like I love doing this one with you guys. I wasn't expecting it to kind of go where it went. And this turned out to be
Look,
good.
we had 15 minutes of great stories in the beginning.
Huh.
I think we need to bring the Law Hawk back.
I think if we can find that guy and get him on the podcast. He's in Fort Worth.
he needs
right?
some pub, I'm sure.
I think he's in Fort Worth.
Just find him.
Whoever has the connections
Who
with the Law
knows
Hawk.
I know.
the Law Hawk?
I don't even know his real name, but yeah. If
Yeah.
you can find the Law Hawk, we would love to have him on.
Mortgage Mike, Michael DeBacker.
MortgageMikeofTexas.com. Every loan, every approved loan he closes, he'll get you a baby back rib.
Ooh,
One,
I like it.
one
Just
rib.
fun.
good one.
One rib.
Just one rib. How much for one rib?
One rib.
All right. Oh, Jesse's going to search the Law Hawk. Yep, Fort Worth DUI lawyer.
His
Brian
name is Brian
Wilson.
Wilson. He's got 41 reviews, 4.9.
Yeah.
But that
Is 41 reviews a lot for a
on.
guy who had a
Can-
Super Bowl
yeah,
commercial?
Seriously,
Did
can
he have
we,
a Super Bowl
I feel
commercial?
like yes.
Jesse, read
got
the
the
reviews. I want to see if they're about the commercial.
Hang on.
Okay. All right. Okay. They're legit.
right, you're safe. They're fair.
legit.
They're fair.
Okay,
They're
I
only
thought
ones.
they might be about the commercials.
There's some of those. We go back a couple of years. Darren Smith, Armadillo Home Warranty.
Get that hard shell protection.
He does.
All you need to do is armadillo.1/tour. TORE.
Tell him that every time you, for every 3 deals you close with Theron, you would like one fanny pack.
Ooh.
I'm just trying to think about everything
That's
we know
good,
about
yeah,
these people to like
100%.
make them do stuff.
Yeah.
And then go check out homewardfw.com for every property you refer us to. I will buy Dana a glass of wine to keep her sane and stable from the growth and trajectory of this company.
That is also well
I was going to say,
needed.
what is Dana going to give out?
Her love,
Great-
and support,
great
and
homework
unreal customer
service.
service.
Yeah.
You know what she's gonna give out?
Do you have the shirt on today?
Yes.
Personal service, quality service, exceptional, customer service.
Yeah.
If you want to know that
I
story,
want a shirt on that one.
It's good,
I
dude.
got extras. We gotta get.
We
you
need to
more.
make some more. This was a fun one today, boys. Everybody, thanks for your engagement. I loved reading all your comments.
Mortgage
You guys are
Mike's
awesome.
giving a bones. All right. Let's
Bye.
get us out of here.
See you on Call of Duty later.
Bye. Maybe later.
In a
See ya.
second.
Thanks for watching the show today. Make sure if you're watching this on Facebook, you head over to our group, the only real estate group worth being a part of, so you can watch the extended conversation. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And if you listen on the Apple Podcast, leave us a review. We'd really like it. So just do it. Do it. Do that over there. Go to this one. Then go to that one. Thanks.